Good evening, Malaysia and around the world. Tonight we have a very special guest. He is Ameer Mydin. He is the managing director of homegrown hypermarket chain Mydin. He is the son of the founder, Mydin Muhammad bin Mydin Gulam, who founded this brand name in 1957. Mydin today has over 100 outlets nationwide, inclusive of 6 hypermarkets, 18 emporiums, 3 bazaars, 52 mini markets, 9 convenience stores, 6 franchise outlets. Amil actually started as a merchant banker, but he has turned this humble family hypermarket into a company that employs over 6,000 workers. That's how big this brand has been. So tonight we will listen to the man himself who will talk about his experiences, share with us his strategy, his strength, and how he has branded this company into a 63-year-old company, which today is the branding in Malaysia. Welcome on board, Amir. Can you share with us what has been happening to your company over the last 63 years? You have managed to keep the ship relevant and resilient. Tell us about it.
Thank you, Dr. Sri. Thank you for inviting. I think it's nice to know that you're 63 years old. Basically, is of course a lot of hard work from the family. I think because this is a family-owned business, started of course as you Dr. Sri mentioned by my father, and carried forward by my elder brother and my other 2 younger brothers, and not forgetting before I get scolded, not forgetting the support from the wife. Very important, not forgetting, and the children, of course. I think in any business, if you do not have the support of the family, friends, then suppliers, you will not be able to survive. I think this is important. We tend to forget. We many times as you grow bigger and bigger, as they say, ego comes into you and says, "Hey, I did it," that kind of thing. But always remember, it's not you. It's never you, actually. You might be the leader, like I might be the face, right? So that's inviting me to talk about Mydin, but it's not me, of course. It's a whole organization of this 6,000, 8,000 people that runs it. Of course, it has been a tough time at the beginning. My father, my elder brother, even myself, we used to sell on the streets in Kota Baru, in Pasar Malam. So whenever we meet people, when I say something, they say, "Oh, you pick ready, very easy, you talk." I say, but don't forget, I started where you are now. It's just that currently, somehow the younger people want to become instant millionaires. Just because they may be so used to eating instant noodles, that they want to become instant millionaires, that they think that they work hard for 6 months, 9 months, or 1 year, and they say, "How come I'm not making my million, and where's my Ferrari?"
Yeah.
But they forget that if you want to survive, it has to be earned slowly, as the saying goes.
Yeah.
You never chase for money or fame. Okay? Because money and fame comes to you when you are ready. If you chase for money and fame, if it comes to you too early, you might, number one, just kill yourself, commit suicide. I mean, we know a lot of artists, right? For example, they get instant fame and they can't handle fame.
Yes.
And we also know, of course, from research done that people who get the lottery, 95% of the people who earn lottery money after hardly a year, they are poorer than what they were before. Because it's instant money, right? And you have no feel. And I give you an example, for example, how we handled it. Because when we were young, the main thing when we were young, my father, was a shopkeeper, they carry the money in the pouch, comes to his bedroom and call all the 7 children on the bed, take all the money, and actually slave labor, actually, just probably just lazy to do it, take all that dollar, 1 ringgit, 2 ringgit, and then throws it on the bed and says, "Come on, let's count it." So we are exposed to money, at that early age, and we're having fun because You know, you are fighting among each other, trying to arrange the money. What is important? Do you know how money is arranged? Do you know that the king's photo has to be on the right side? That every 9 note you fold with another note, and that becomes a 10, and every 10 you tie a rubber band becomes 100. You know, then there's green color. So you see, when you have handled money when you are that young of course, it's easier. It's easier. Although it's not your money, but you have handled it, right? Because we find a lot of challenges. When we put our cashiers, they could be graduates, you know. They become cashiers. The minute they sit at the cashier and they see that kind of money, they panic. And they're counting the change. They're counting the change 100 times because they're worried they give an extra dollar back, you know. So this handling is very important. And of course, what my father did was, after we do all the accounting, everyone gets 10 cents.
Oh, okay.
Real stingy man. Get 10 cents, and that 10 cents has to go to the piggy bank. So you earn your keep, but you save that keep. So these things follows as you grow older and older. And many people might not know that my father never gave us pocket money.
Oh, okay.
That's it. It's a training. It's training. He never gave us pocket money. We have to earn the pocket money. So what that means is that because we had a toy shop, I mean, I think we are about the same age. You look much younger, of course. But I think you know that those days, combat, you know, the soldiers, the small green packets.
Green color ones.
Right, green color one, combat, right? So in one packet, there are 10. So my father will give me the packet from the shop. And when you divide it, it's $1. So one is 10 cents. This is $1. Go and sell this. So I take the packet, go to the school. For the 10 cents, I have to sell 20 cents. So I get $1 after I sell the 10. So I get $2. But you know what? He wants his $1 back.
Okay.
I mean, nowadays, the way we treat our children, I think we are at fault. You know, we take 10 ringgit, and can go and buy me some fish curry. He comes back with a 4 ringgit, he says, Namala, you keep lah. So we spoil our kids. He wants his dollar back. And that what you have earned is only yours. So I think this is important because these kind of things builds you up in terms of entrepreneurship. So entrepreneurship starts when you are in school. Not when the teacher is like, you cannot teach entrepreneurship 101. It's easy to say, but you see all this, you know, that's why, I mean, not trying to be racialistic or whatever, why the Indians and the Chinese, they grew up more entrepreneurial than our Malay, but it's no fault of theirs, because we were in that business environment, while say, like my wife, I mean, the father was a civil servant. But also the conversation that you have at home, right?
Yes. So
my father comes home and all he talks is about business. Oh, I had this, I bought this, I did this. So we listen to his story. But if you're a civil servant, obviously you will come back and talk about your work, which would be, I had a problem in immigration. These people came to renew his passport. There was a problem. Documents are not right. So it is the conversation that you have at your home, the training that starts at your home, that builds an entrepreneur. And I see a lot of entrepreneurs are built that way.
So Dato, you share with us how your family was very prudent. They manage costs, and then they look at the entrepreneurship, they look at costing, they look at profits, and how they reinvest into the business. But eventually you left to study, you had a formal education, and eventually you started working as a merchant banker. So this transformation from being this practical experience in a family of doing business to studying finance, to being in the institution of merchant banking, and eventually you went back to the family business. How has this formal education helped you and prepare you to run a bigger business for Mydin?
You know, I find that I think what is good, of course, we hear some billionaires saying that they really didn't have. Bill Gates says, I never did go to universities or whatnot. But you know, most of us do go to universities. Yeah. And I think that formal education is very important. It's very, very important for two reasons. One, you learn how to find things when you need things. Because when you write papers, you do research. You go to libraries. I mean, I know nowadays people don't go to libraries anymore, but that's how we are taught. Yeah? How books are kept, how the books are indexed, how to search for things.
Yeah.
Right? You know, the title and how you write. So this education and articulation of what you are trying to tell, because the teacher is going to tell you, lecturer, I don't understand what you're trying to say. And we all know it's more difficult to write a one-page report than a 100-page report.
Yes.
Right? That's also very important, that you're able to give your ideas in concise manner so people understand. So education is always very important. But what happens after education is very important. What happens normally is that, and all of us say the same thing, they say, oh, I want to become a businessman. They jump into business. I think that's the first mistake anybody makes. And I'm very lucky, seriously, that actually I was able to work in a merchant bank. Right? So when you are in merchant bank, and when you work in a structured organization, and I always tell people, you know, when you finish universities, you don't go and work in a smaller business who will pay you higher, seriously. Go and work in Shell, in Exxon. I mean, go and work where there is structure.
Yeah.
Because you need structure.
Yes.
You must understand cash flow. You must learn how to work with people. You know, in a small organization, you tend to be very friendly with everybody. You know, but in a big organization, there's a lot of backstabbing. There's a lot of politicking going around. But this builds you as a man. This builds you up. You know, and this is what you must understand: the structure. What you must say, what you must not tell. You know, how to get people to work for you. That volunteerism. You know, the days of you sitting and saying, get this done, doesn't work. It has to be, please get it done, you know, and show the guy the benefit of getting it done. So that education and working is very important. I even tell people, if you want to open a restaurant, please go and work in a restaurant. You have to work in a restaurant to understand, number one, which are the dishes people normally buy. Yes. You might like fish curry, but it ends up that chicken curry is the most sellable. So how do you know? And the second part of it is, what happens to the fish that is left over for the day when you can't sell? Right? It's only when you work in a restaurant you realize that that fish you make into sambal tomorrow. And we all love sambal, not knowing it's yesterday's fish. Right? Because it tastes better, and this is how you progress. You know, I mean, like even at home, we take the fried chicken and we chop it up and put in nasi goreng. You know, I mean, all of us don't throw away things. I mean, we hope we don't, right? So if you do not know how to do this, you can open a restaurant. It's no use. And I spoke to one nasi kandar man one day. I said, hey, you know, how you manage this? What happens if your chef stops tomorrow? He said, you know, you ask any nasi kandar owner, he knows how to make roti canai, and he knows how to make tatari. You must know the skill. First, whatever business you do, you can't say, I'm going to hire a chef, I'm going to hire a cashier. It doesn't work that way. So that progression and that experiences is required. Structure, you work, and you work for a few years. You don't go and work in a restaurant for 3 months. You say, oh my God, I know how to run this business. You don't. You don't. You work for a year or two. You notice how the cashier takes the money from the till and puts in his pocket. He's cheating the company. How he orders the fish that comes, the vegetable doesn't come, he still pays the guy. There's pilferage going out there. So all these things you only learn in the real world. But you need structure. Okay, end of the day, and I think working in a bank is one of the best experiences because you learn cash flow, you learn risk. But you know, bankers, I mean, being a banker myself, but bankers tend to be too conservative. You know, and they can never become business people if you ask me, you know, because everything you tell them, and you must know how to lie to your bankers also, because everything you tell them, you cannot understand banks seriously. You ask them for $1 million, they give you 800,000. You ask for 10, they'll give you 6 million. I mean, you're asking what you want, and they actually give you less, right? So the only way to work with banks is you got to bluff them, right? You can say, I want 20. They say, too much, I give you 10. I think that's what I wanted. That's what I wanted, you know? So this experience, this working, and this kind of things really help build you up. Build you up.
Dato', you talk about structure and transition. The retail business they started off as kedai runcit, a grocery shop, and then they have moved on along the way. They became a supermarket, then they became hypermarket, and then eventually it seems to have gone on to a much more smaller outlet because people want to go into an outlet and it says, I just want to buy vegetables and food. I do not want to buy electrical appliances, for example, or TV sets. In your case, can you explain a little bit and share with us the difference between hypermarket, supermarket, emporium, and how your company is heading towards in terms of restructuring itself to be much more competitive and relevant in this today's market?
Business change. That is, I think everything changes, right? Okay. The main thing in this is that, are you apt to the change or not? Are you with that change, right? So those days were smaller shops and we had smaller shops, right? Hypermarkets came in and we went into hypermarket business. Of course, on hindsight, people say, maybe that was the wrong business. But is it really wrong? We are like sometimes 10 years behind USA in a way, or even in China now because, you know, hypermarkets and all that. But seriously, end of the day, the most important thing is, are you moving towards however people are moving? But remember, don't try to change too fast because it might just become a fad. Netflix, seriously, is a fad. If you ask me, you know why? Because I look at it. You have Netflix. I also wanted Netflix. You told me nice movies on Netflix. I got my Netflix. Every day, for a month, non-stop, I watch Netflix. Ask me today, when was the last time I watched Netflix? I don't remember. I'm paying that Netflix bill, but I hardly even flick it because I say, I've seen that. Oh, that's so boring. No, I'm going to listen to TED Talk or I'm going to listen to the news again, right? So these things go and come. So you have to be very careful. And you say, I think hypermarket are dead. We should open hypermarket. Are they really? Are they really? Because remember, you are dealing with human being.
Mm-hmm.
Human being. Human being needs a touch. They need people to talk. They need to have that emotional experience. You know, don't know what's going to happen with computers and AI. Whether that emotional experience, can you get it? And it's very worrying that we might lose that human touch that we're having in people, right? So to me, the business is here to stay. Hypermarket, whatever the experts say, but you know, I mean, of course, like we say, we can always be wrong. I don't think we'll die tomorrow. But what is a hypermarket might change. So we have to change with that. I mean, what could it be? Number one, we'll make, instead of you coming in a hypermarket, you can't find everything, we'll make it easier for you to find. Probably you can, on your mobile, you don't have to search for it, it's probably there, it will just tell you where to go and get it. We'll try to make it seamless for you to pay and go out, right? But you still want to come, because you still want to bring your kid and walk with your kids. It's an experience in itself. You still want to select. Yeah, you can buy everything online. Are you sure you want to buy roti canai online? You know how a cold roti canai tastes when it arrives at your door, right? Or a thosai, for example. A thosai in a restaurant, within a minute it gets cold. A thosai must be at hot, you see? So things like this cannot change, you know? But how you order the thosai can change. You can tell him, I'll be there at 10 o'clock in the morning. Please get the thosai ready on my table at 10:01. You could do that. You can automate things faster, you know. But you know, some things seriously, end of the day, if you want to eat good food, you still have to tumbuk the chili. Right?
Yes.
So, right. So, and it's not the older generation that are only yearning for that. You notice that the younger ones are yearning for that. Now, after you eat so much junk food, then you realize there is some good food around, you know. And they tend to be more adventurous. They tend to go and go to every nook and corner to find something nice, something different. So I think hypermarket will be there. The only thing, because we have to be careful, our buildings are very big. So what we're going to do is, many of the hypermarket, we're just too big, and which is happening all over the world seriously, we will use that place as the distribution center for our online.
I see.
Because we are also online, not very big online, for a very simple reason. Let the others make the mistake first. Learn from people.
Dato', sorry, what is the difference between supermarket and hypermarket?
It's just the size.
Okay.
It's the size. Okay. So a supermarket is normally like 15,000 square feet, 20,000. Hypermarket is more than 50,000 normally, 50, 70, 80. You know, and the ministry keep changing the numbers.
Would it be correct to say that that COVID-19 actually helped supermarkets or hypermarkets, because many of us, during the MCO, I practically went out because I wanted to have every excuse to go to your place to buy something because I needed to get out of the house. So when I went there, I found that the queue was, like in all supermarkets or hypermarkets, the queue was wrong because everybody needed to buy something. Did COVID-19 help your supermarket?
As far as the numbers are concerned, no. The perception, yes.
Okay.
Perception, because people thought long queues, but you know, long queues are not good for business.
Okay.
All right, because people get tired. And can you imagine the policeman walking to my store every day, going to my PA system and telling, you got 15 minutes to shop, please go out. Right? And you are a single person. And men are lousy shoppers. Right?
Yes.
You come with the list and you only buy what is on the list. If it's not on the list, you don't buy. And if you don't find, and you're so slow in shopping because you don't even know what is bayam and kangkong. You know, and you have to keep taking photos and calling your wife on FaceTime and you say, which is which, is it? So it doesn't help. You know, so but end of the day, you learn a lot of things COVID-19. You learn what? You learn that Malaysians are actually quite disciplined. They actually follow the rules. Yeah. They are willing to queue. They're willing to wear a mask. You know, you tell them, and they're very particular, very particular. And it is shocking when you see this, and you always thought that, you know, we people, you know, but it's shocking that we could be one of the most disciplined people, maybe next to the Japanese. Because you see what's happening in Europe, you protest because the government asking you to wear a mask for your own good, you know. Sometimes you want freedom for the sake of freedom. And I think somehow Malaysia has this balance. We want freedom, but with responsibility. You know, and people are very responsible. See this in Malaysia. You know, I see this claim. Of course, there's a minor 1 or 2 problems when we tried to stop a child from walking in. And I was there. So my security was arguing with an adult with having a baby. Say, I want to go in. And security said, no, we don't allow children. So I went in thinking I could handle it better. You'll be surprised. I you know, minta maaf. I mean, we don't allow children. Is it your kid or my kid? I'm sorry, sir. I know it's your kid. So why are you worried about my kid? I worry about my kid. You just let me in with my kid. You know, so there are also people with those kinds. But that's 1 of a million, right?
Yeah.
But this teaches you. This is an experience. How to deal with people. You know, there are all kinds in this world, but there are many good people out there. And I think Malaysians are generally very, very disciplined. Very, very disciplined. Except throwing rubbish whenever you go for a walk at a park. You know, and this is one thing that we do seriously, is just to mention, I mean, every weekend when I go for a walk with my wife, you'll be shocked. You know, we go to different parks. We will go to the Lake Club side, we go to Taman Tun, we will go to, you know, TTDI. I can tell you which is the cleanest park, because my wife will be wearing gloves. I have to hold the garbage, and whenever you're walking, you're picking up garbage everywhere.
Okay.
You know, so it's part of having a walk, but doing a civic duty to clean up the park, which I think every Malaysian should do. We must take responsibility. And this is also another issue, right? We always tell the plumber's problem or the maintenance guy's problem or somebody threw a cigarette butt as the cleaner's problem. You know, it's not. It's always our problem. You know, we must solve it.
Dato', I know that you personally walk around the floors of your hypermarket to see for yourself what the consumers really want and what kind of, even how many fishes they buy or how many meats they buy or how many roti they buy. I know that from what I've heard from you and from your staff, what would be the most sellable items in the averagely in the hypermarkets?
If you say today, it'll be a mask lah.
Okay, and water.
And water, of course, with this. That's right. The best part about business is that anytime there's a crisis, there's time to make money.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, but you make reasonable profit. I mean, I'm not saying make money means you charge expensive, but you must be ready for it. I still remember, if you ever have a chance to look at the Mydin Untold Story book, if you look up the book, it's written by my wife, but took her long to write. But it's a book about Mydin, the history behind it. There's one photo of my old shop in Kota Baru. It's flooding out there.
Okay.
Flood, because Kota Baru used to flood every year end. Flood, you see a small door open, People close shop. Here we always take opportunity. Heavy rain, cannot go to work. Close your business, do this, do this. My father, my late father, when it floods, he said, we are not closing our shop. Open the shop. People want liling, people want lighters, mosquito, also torchlights, floaters. Time to make business, time to make money. This is the opportunity. Like this week, we have no water, The first thing, put water. But where do you put the water? Not in front. Put the water behind. Tell the customers to walk in and get the water so they will buy a chocolate on the way. You don't go and say, no, my customer, I must convenience my customer. Let's take all the water, put it in front, and the other three will come take the water and go home. And we only make 50 cents a box of water, I'd rather you buy a small chocolate and make $1. So I think it's important. Crisis, even the so-called this COVID-19 pandemic, it's an opportunity actually for all of us to learn a lot of things. I mean, everybody say, I learned, I did this, yes, to know you better. But it's an opportunity to grow and make money.
Yes.
And I've got entrepreneurs, I'm telling you, I was one of this webinar and one guy, I said, hey, I'm looking for fabric mask. He said, oh, I can do that. This is one of the guy who had the stall at Sungai Buloh that was demolished, and he says, I can do fabric mask. Entrepreneur. The next day he comes, he shows me the mask. You know what? I've ordered like 300,000 masks from him. One boomy, small timer entrepreneur, but opportunity. I said, I give you this much. What is your cost? Tell me your cost. I give you my deal, and I order a few 100,000. And now he's become an expert in masks. Cow. cow mask. He sells online, very expensive, but of course he gave it cheaper. So if you do this, you learn this from business, and when it's a crisis, stop crying, stop complaining. There's no water, stop complaining. Then you know what is the meaning of water. Off the tap while you're brushing your teeth. This is life.
Dato, Malaysians now have less money in their pocket. They have got pay cut, they got retrenched, they're worried about their jobs. Do you see that problem reflected when they go shopping at your place? Do they spend less? Are they more pickish? Like maybe we used to buy 5 roti, now they buy 4. Do you see that reflected in their consumption?
Basket size have actually gone up. Because I think because of this, people are actually staying home longer, they're cooking at home and buying things. But the challenge, of course, is that they are buying only more essentials. So you don't tend to buy a new batik shirt or buy something else that you don't really need, you see? And this is where we normally make more margin, right? So it's getting tougher. But it's shocking, right? It's shocking. Restaurants are full, hotels are full, and it could be a blessing in disguise because finally Malaysians actually travel in Malaysia. And don't go to Bali and Vietnam and throw all the money for the exchange all overseas. I mean, hotel. I tried to book a hotel to go to Johor Bahru, couldn't get a room, And many people tell the same stories, right?
Yes.
Hotels. I'm forgetting the hotels in KL downtown. The city centers and all that. But hotels get full. So Malaysians have money. maybe they were spending it outside, and now they have to spend in Malaysia. I think that's the difference. But I do agree with you that the basket size is getting smaller. The margins are being affected. So we basically sell what people need more than what people don't need. We make money when people buy things that they don't need. That's business. But now they just want the basic data and roti canai. They won't put the chicken piece there. Yeah. Chicken piece getting smaller.
I want to go back to one topic. This is the wisdom of your father. You have shared with me about how shops should be located, which part of the road. For the benefit of the other followers of this program, can you share with them what your father said about location of shops?
Of course. I made this story because I wanted to buy a building. I had a shop on this side. Yes. I wanted to buy another building right across the road. So I asked his advice. I said, I want to buy that building. What do you think? He said, you just stand here and see where people are walking. Where are people walking? People are walking here. But I said, see, people walk here. There's nobody walking on the other side. So what makes you think that if you buy that shop, you're going to force the people to move? It's not easy to make people change. Of course, I didn't listen to him end of the day. Probably I said, no, I think his old man is wrong. So I bought the building anyway. But he wasn't wrong. Because end of the day, even you go to Jalan Ta, people walk on one side of the road more than the other side. Even Masjid India, people walk more on this side than on the left side, more on the right side. Whenever you walk, you tend to turn right or turn left. This is all, now you can analyze all your cameras and everything, but you put things that way. You are a print ad man. You people charge more money for the ad to be which side, left or right, So you know where you charge more. So that's how people move and how people eyes go, and this is important in retail. Very important.
Doctor, you've always been a trendsetter, doing something that's different, and you dare to try. I believe that you are the only one with a hypermarket along the North-South Highway. How did you start with that?
You see, end of the day, sometimes people travel, and we must be very thankful. We've got very nice roads in Malaysia. We complain all the time, but we have very nice highways. They are quite reasonable roads and whatever. So I had an opportunity to get. I think when you look at it, it's not a magic formula. The world started that way. Business started at river banks those days because people travel by boat. That's how Malacca and Singapore and our Sungai Golo on that side. This is where business was. We moved. My father moved from Penang to Kelantan because of that border. Because where the border is, that's where you can do more business. You probably can do more smuggling, but that's what the business was those days, right? So similarly, as you look at the highway, people use road, highway, and they want convenient, and they just want to buy something on the way. So we've got a few, seriously, on highway. But maybe for Malaysia side, because if you study the US and you know that's how it is. You just go, you just exit 101, and boom, there will be one shopping center, supermarket, and of course a Walmart everywhere. That's how.
Okay, I know that you are very passionate with TikTok. When I watch your recording, you're really like a Bollywood movie star with your dancing and your acting abilities. Share with us why you are so passionate with TikTok. But before you do that, we will play your TikTok recording now.
Thank you.
Adik nampak murung saja. Renyuk goncang makan. Renyuk goncang makan. Mami renyuk goncang makan. Renyuk goncang makan. Renyuk goncang makan. Mami
Mi! Apa ni? Kuning. Mi kuning, mi kuning, mi kuning. Don't leave me, don't leave me, don't leave me. Apa ni? Botol. Apa ni? Air. Botol air, botol air, botol air. Don't leave me, don't leave me.
Okay, Dato', it was really amazing. I mean that, but I'd like to know, in terms of marketing, branding, how does it impact your business with this TikTok recordings?
I think the first thing about TikTok is that, as a business person, people tend to be the face. And in Mydin, I am the face. If you see Air Asia, we know Tony is the face, right? So they see Tony, they see Air Asia. They see my face, they see Mydin,
Yes.
right? And this is how, I mean, it could be a good thing or a bad thing, depending how you look at it, right? But I am the face for what it's worth for Mydin, right? And I'm trying to use my face for marketing purposes. I'm not the handsomest guy or the slimmest guy, you know, bald-headed, whatever, but willing to do it and having fun. See, the main thing about this thing is you must have fun. You must have fun. I think my staff are more scared in terms of telling me what to do, saying that are you okay to jump? Are you able to wear that mummy monster? You know, and you know, dance with it, because that's what he done. You know, they say, Dato, can you dance? You know, so but you know what? They are the inspiration. You know, these young people, they follow TikTok and whatever. And don't get me wrong, because TikTok is also very educational. I mean, if you see TikTok, after a while you say, I don't want to see the sleazy ones, you know. Let's go to the, I mean, you pick up a lot of good things. You know, your back hurts, you know how to stand and how to get up from the bed. It's all on TikTok. Intermittent fasting, what's it all about? It's also on TikTok. You know, so that passion of wanting to learn and learn the way that people are learning now, right? And business is changing with the trend. And you know what? TikTok, free marketing. Free. I think that's the thing. First, it's free, but they're also naughty. You know, if you start putting product, they're trying to pull you down. They don't allow your numbers to go. So when you look at my numbers, you will see that so-called Father's Day, it starts like 900,000, right?
Wow.
But when I tried to do the mummy monster one, the numbers went down. But in Malaysia, what people normally do, they just don't only see TikTok. You see? Most people love forwarding things. So their TikTok goes to WhatsApp and WhatsApp goes round. Then you get 500,000 views on WhatsApp. You see? So TikTok could play their game of, you know, lowering your numbers because you're trying to commercialize it. So that then they cannot earn the revenue by advertising, you know. But it's an excellent avenue. It's fun. And you'll be surprised, seriously, that our customer base, I always thought my customer base was me, you know, like 50, 60-year-old people, you know, walking around, you know. But our customers are actually quite young. Quite young. It's actually 30 to 40 to 45, you know. And these people are the younger ones. I mean, and they see TikTok. And I think whatever you do, you must have fun. Must have fun. You must laugh about it. And humor is the best.
Dato', I'm sure that your younger workers, your younger customers are really thrilled with your TikTok recording. I'd like to know your older, much more conservative members of the Chamber of Commerce, what is their reaction towards Ameer Mydin dressing himself as the Munchie monster, the blue monster? What was their reaction when they saw that?
Actually, the reaction from my wife is worse, I think. But she's okay. She says, just don't make a fool out of yourself. you know. But actually, the reaction I get is more like, I'm shocked. You're willing to do it, huh? You're willing to do this, huh?
Yes.
And they tend to say, I wish I'm going to. I also can do this, you know. But you know what? You can. Seriously, you can do it. You know, if you want to play the motorcycle, I mean, you want to play the piano, learn the piano, you can learn, you know. Yeah. Seriously, my wife took a motorcycle license just only about 5 years ago, you know. she's so passionate about it. She wanted, I said, are you sure? You have a driver, you have a car. I want to fulfill this thing that I can ride my own motorbike. I said, fine, learn, but don't buy a bike.
So, Dato', I have one final question before we ease off and conclude this fantastic, wonderful interview. I have one question. You have talked about being prudent. You have talked about cost management. You have talked about how you should be careful with how you plan your prices and everything. So you have made your millions. Have you bought your Ferrari?
No. Because you know why? To sit in a Ferrari, it hurt my back. So, and actually, sometimes it's just an ego trip. And I really don't like people looking at me when I drive down somewhere. And I think you learn lessons from all this, that you get over this. And I'll give you an example, seriously, serious example. When I was working, I had a shop, I used to drive my own Mydin van, and my daughter at that time, I would stay in Bangsa. So I always drive the van home. That's the only car we had. Anyways, I drove at a lorry, like a lorry, 3-ton lorry. I drive home. Morning, I would send my daughter to school, right? At Bukit Bandaraya on the other side, right? And she says, Daddy, can you please don't drop me in front of the school? I feel so embarrassed, and I would actually drop her right in front of the school. I say, don't be embarrassed. Your father earns an honest living, so be proud. At that time, she never understood, but fine. As she grew older, she went to college, universities, and when she came back, then she said she wanted to visit somebody. So I said, okay. And, not to say anything, but I have my Merc 400, whatever. I went down to my Merc. She said, Daddy, can you take the Honda? I said, but no, I like to drive the Merc. The Honda is your mom's car. I don't want people to see you in the Merc. I don't want to be seen in the Merc. You see? So she has also learned that, I don't want to be showy. I don't want to do this. I don't want my friends to think that, this father, no, I want to be myself. And I'm very proud of that both my kids, when they go out, they use their name and they never say, anak Dato', and they never mention they are both in their own entrepreneurial business, and never, my son does, my daughter, they don't even use they put the bin there, they put Ameer, they won't put the Mydin. So they know the minute they put the Mydin, people know this is somebody. And I think that's good. That's good. And I went once to an event, and somebody said, oh, you are Iqbal's father. I told my son, hey, you made it, man. He said, what happened? He says, I've never heard of somebody calling me Iqbal's father. They always say, Dato' Amir's son. I said, that is what you want. And he felt so proud. He said, yes, somebody finally recognized me as me. And my father is just my father, not somebody else. And I think this is recognition we want, a real recognition. We don't want these titles. Malaysia is a titled world, But the good thing about titles, you don't have to remember people's name, So, but that is the real world. But I think the most important thing here is that I hope the government realizes seriously that times are quite bad out there. And I will summarize by saying that you can see the millions, just like Tony will say millions and the billions, but many of us have lost these millions in this serious pandemic. And people ask me how's business, and I will just say that we are surviving on backstroke. Backstroke is for survival, because when you are so tired, you can't do your front stroke, your breaststroke. You are left with only a backstroke. You only need one more big wave to come, and you will sink. So the country might just sink. I hope all of us understand this part. We did this fun, and not to say that we can't make it. We have that. We have the resources. We have the people. And I think we all can do this. We do it together. I hope the government get it right. I think we all know what we're talking about. Get it right. The ability to get it right. And I think Malaysia will survive anything.
Thank you very much as a friend of Dr. Ameer Mydin for sharing this your thoughts and telling us about the different strokes of surviving in this difficult environment. Appreciate your presence, and we hope to meet up again. For those of you who are following me on Facebook, please share with me every Wednesday, and it's coming soon, Wednesday and Friday. Thank you for following it.
Thank you, Dr. Sri.
Thank you.